Hello, beautiful, and welcome back to day 3 of Ditch Alcohol and Discover Your Purpose workshop. Thank you guys for standing by. Please feel free to refresh the page so that you can catch on the live video. And I'm so excited to be back on day 3. Let's just catch up for a moment on what we have gone through this week so far. So day 1, we really allowed ourselves to recognize all the incredible blessings, all the incredible gifts, all the sense of gratitude of what incredible things are unfolding for your life is coming for you now as alcohol gets a smaller place in your life. Now, I do want to say, if alcohol is still playing a really big role in your life right now, that's okay. You're not in the wrong place. Become Euphoric is the perfect place for you to change your relationship with alcohol. And if you want me and my team's help in order to do so, please go check it out. You can check out becomeeuphoric.com and learn more about how to change not only the habit, the mindset, the pattern, all of it when it comes to your relationship with alcohol. But if you're taking a break and you're allowing alcohol to play a smaller role in your life, what ends up happening is you just get flooded with this wave of new blessings and new gifts that come into your life. You have a lot more confidence because you're finally showing up for yourself day to day. You have so much more energy and so much more positivity every single morning because you're not waking up on the wrong side of the bed. There's so many gifts that happen when you change your relationship with alcohol, and it's just one of the most impactful transformations I've ever honestly seen in the world of things that you could just eliminate in order to have all these incredible gifts. And so what happens from this incredible place where you're, really rebuilding your self-trust, really rebuilding your integrity, having so much more joy in your life, really finding out what fun means for you. None of this is necessarily easy, right? When I say that there's incredible gifts, that doesn't mean that doesn't come with challenges as well. You have to navigate how to talk to your friends about it, what to say when someone's asking if you're not drinking or not, feeling still kind of like embarrassed about the whole thing. There's so many challenges that come with it too. But I think we can all agree that no matter what, when you're really grateful, you can notice some benefits that come. You can notice the blessings that come. And what happens from that vantage point is that it's all alchemizing for you. It's all happening for a bigger purpose. It's all happening for you to be able to take this into a next chapter, into a next place. Because the thing is that you're not the same anymore. You're not the same person you were when you were drinking and using alcohol regularly. You are completely changing and transforming and evolving into a new person. And so what happens is our dreams evolve. Our sense of what's possible evolves. The sense of what we want evolves, right? We continue asking ourselves these questions of what do I like? What do I don't like? How do I want to spend a Friday night? And we get to evolve. We get to ask ourselves bigger questions. So when something was just, this is okay for me as a drinker, and I didn't mind that I wasn't doing this or that, now it's like, but wait a minute, but why couldn't I do that? Why couldn't I do the things that I really want, right? And I think that's one of the beautiful reflection questions that can really come up for you as you're looking to change your relationship with alcohol and continue embodying an alcohol-free lifestyle is, what do I want now, right? Not what did I want a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Now that I have this incredibly different perspective, different vantage point, completely new skills and gifts within me because I'm growing my self-reliance, my self-emotional regulation, my confidence, all these things are so new. What can be ahead, right? And so yesterday we spent some time asking ourselves those questions, like, what do I really want? If I could have anything, what would I want? What would that look like for me, right? If money was no objection, what would I do for a career? If money was no issue, how would I live my lifestyle? Where would I live? What would I do, right? And so I think these kind of questions take off all those limitations and all of those realities and allow us to just ask deep into our soul, what do I want? What do I want, right? And if you use the workbook yesterday, you can find a few different questions that allow you to answer that, in different ways. And I'll say that every single question is just meant to help you elicit more clues, right? More clues on the roadmap to this next chapter. I really do believe that no matter who you are or where you're coming from, when you've ditched alcohol and changed the relationship with it, you have a next chapter unfolding in front of you. You have this new evolved identity that you're carrying and that can really carry you into anything else you want next. And so it's really this period of reevaluating so much. Not only are we reevaluating the role of alcohol in our lives and society in so many ways, but we're also reevaluating just our lives, right? Like, if we were drinking, for example, to make other people happy and to pretend to be connected with people and to, hang out with other people, and we're kind of coming to this realization that, you know what, that doesn't serve me. That doesn't serve me to drink for other people. It doesn't serve me to do this to make someone else happy. Oh my God, what a lesson in boundaries. What a lesson in not people pleasing anymore. What a lesson in actually being authentic to you and your values. And so every single challenge that comes up for us as we go alcohol free is meant to grow us, is actually meant to expand our identity and what we're capable of. And so now as you go alcohol free and you ask yourself, what do I really want? Right? Now that I'm evolving my skills, my talents, my ability to hold space for my emotions, my confidence, my courage, what is next for me? And so again, I hope you had some time to really just be honest with those questions yesterday. Again, if I were to ask you if money was no issue, what would you do for a living? If you won the lottery, what would you want to do? If nothing was wrong, what would you want to do? Just all these different questions that ask you really arriving at what your soul is yearning for. And so, it's really normal is that, a lot of us have big dreams and or things, these realities that just seem so far flung from where we're living today. Like, oh my gosh, I would love to write a book, or I would love to be a New York Times bestseller, or oh my gosh, I would love to be a coach and work with other women, or I'd love to grow my business to this level. We get these dreams that come up that really call for us to play bigger and to really be more visible and to really take the chance that it takes to go for our bigger dreams. And then what happens is there's this other voice in the head. So not only do we have this higher self, this part of us that really does believe that there's more for us and that like we're made for more and is just gently encouraging us and empowering us to move forward, there's another voice that's completely the opposite, right? And that voice is like, who the hell do you think you are? Who the hell do you think you are to think that you could have this or that or change this or change that, right? And it's this voice that comes from a really deep inner critic that's super judgmental. And that inner voice has been in our lives probably for forever, or at least since we were young children. And it comes to stop us from doing things that we're passionate about or that excite us out of a voice of fear, right? It could be the voice of reason as well sometimes. Like, well, if you love playing music and you really want to devote your life to being a musician, but that little voice inside of you says, no way, musicians don't make money, get a real job, right? And so sometimes it isn't even this critical voice or this, voice that doesn't believe in you. It's just trying to be the voice of reason. Like, just be practical, just choose something safe, choose something secure, don't do that, right? And that voice is honestly this protection mechanism that we have formed a long time ago in order to protect us from some of the things that we're scared of. We're all scared of rejection, right? What if I go after this thing that I want and I get rejected? What if I try to write a book and send it to an agent and nobody picks my book up? What if I start my social media platform and, people start criticizing me? Right? What if I try to sell something and I get rejected? So we're all scared of this rejection. We're also scared of failure. What if I try and what if I go after something that I'm passionate about, but what if I fail? What if I can't keep the momentum to keep it going? What if I just give up? What if it just doesn't work? What if I try my hardest and it doesn't work, right? Isn't that the biggest fear? Like, what if I were to try my hardest and it still doesn't work, right? Like, that is such a deep fear that we can have. And so, we have this fear of rejection, we have this fear of failure, we have fear of criticism. So, what is Uncle Bill going to say when I go public with this? What is my friends from high school going to think, right? We're so scared of criticism. We're scared of just what people will think in general as well, right? Like, I remember not wanting to seem like a show off, not wanting to be like, oh, look at me, I'm, launching this business and this book. And I was like, what is this person from high school going to think, And the thing is that this voice of criticism or the inner critic, it's just trying to protect us from these things that we're so scared of. And in a way, that voice isn't necessarily a bad voice or an evil voice. It's just a voice of love that's trying to protect you in a very misguided way. And so what I often do when I hear my inner critic coming out, and I can still hear it obviously to this day, I just choose not to listen to it 100%. I choose to listen to the other voice. I choose to listen to the voice of faith. I choose to listen to the voice that's telling me that my dreams are possible. I choose to listen to that voice. And so what happens now when that voice comes up for me is I listen to it and then I say, thank you. Thank you for your input. However, I'm going to listen to this other voice instead. You know, it's like you're in a board meeting and you hear from 6 different people and you're like, all right, thanks, Jane. Thanks, Bob. I got all of your input. Thank you guys. But you ultimately get to decide what to do, right? It's just input. It doesn't have to be the way things go. And so that is how I help myself get over that voice that says it's not possible, that says I'm going to fail, and just say, you know what, that's just one voice and it's coming out to try to protect me, but it's kind of misguided. Because the thing is it's trying to protect me from pain. And in my opinion, and let me know if you agree or not, the biggest pain in life is to regret the things you didn't do. The number one regret of people who are dying, people who are on their deathbed, and they've studied this over and over again, is the things they didn't do, the dreams they didn't go for. That is the number one regret of the dying, right? And so, yes, we want to avoid the pain of failure or rejection or criticism and all those things. But truly, the deepest fear we have is the fear of regret. We're fear of getting to the end of our lives and realizing that we didn't live the lives we really wanted to. And I don't know about you, but, you know, this isn't like a dress rehearsal. This is the one life we have, right? Like, I don't know if reincarnation exists. No one can really prove it or not. So I'm going to just bet on this one life, right? And I know without a shadow of a doubt that I do not want to get to the end of my life and regret the things I didn't do because I was too scared to do them, you know? And the thing is that when you go after your dreams, you still feel some of that fear, but there's this incredible book out there called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And that is one of the most exhilarating feelings because it actually lifts you out from a zone of supposed comfort and again makes you feel all of these feelings, the challenge, the thrill, the fear, and all these things. And once you do the thing that you're scared of, it is the most incredibly exhilarating feeling in the world. When you do something that you were nervous about or scared about, you feel like a superwoman afterwards. I mean, yes, you can see this in like the things that maybe are adventurous, right? Like say you're scared to jump off of a waterfall, but it's perfectly safe. And then you go and jump off the waterfall. When you come back up, you're like, oh my God, I did it. Oh my gosh, right? You're so proud of yourself. And when you start doing this alongside your dreams, when you make that call, when you put up that website, when you start writing the draft of your book, when you do the thing, when you enroll in the course, when you get the mentor, it feels just as exhilarating because you're moving forward on the thing that scared you and you're facing the fear and you're feeling it anyway. So it's just so normal when we think of our bigger dreams, when we think of like anything being possible in this reality and choosing based on that, what we really, really want. It's so normal for a voice to come up and say, it's too late. You should have gotten started on that 10 years ago. It's way too late for you to do that now. Or how about, you're too old. You should have been doing that back in your 20s. You're way too old. It's way too late for you to get started on that. Maybe another voice says, you're way too young. Who the hell are you to talk about that? You don't know what you're talking about. You haven't had enough life experience. Maybe a voice says, you're not smart enough. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to do that kind of stuff. Maybe the voice says you're not capable, right? Like you're not capable of doing those kind of things. Who do you think you are? You know, and so the voice can come in and say all of these lies and all of these stories that really stop us from going after what we truly, truly want. And then here's the kicker. Sometimes the voice isn't even about you. Sometimes the voice is really just the voice of what we say is reason or with logic or being super analytical and practical. And the voice is kind of like the voice of society at that point. And it says, most people fail at businesses. Most people fail at their dreams. You know, like you can't make money off of being a musician. You should get a real job. I have to pay the bills. I have to pay the mortgage. This is safe. This is secure. And so the voice stops being even a limiting voice that we can personalize. And it starts being this voice of society that we just 100% believe in, right? And we just think that our dream isn't possible because we already wrote it off. Like, let me give you an example. Before I was writing at all in my book, when I was still drinking alcohol, I didn't really write at all. And one of the reasons that I gave myself of why I wasn't writing is I made up this story that writers didn't make money. I was like, well, what's the point? Writers don't really make money, right? And do you see that by telling myself that story that I was keeping myself safe in not even trying? I was keeping myself safe in not even trying by telling myself this story that writers don't make money. Now, is it true that writers don't make money? I mean, I have a bookshelf full of lots of books and lots of authors that are doing pretty well, right? I personally got a 125,000 book deal from HarperCollins. Where did I get this story that writers don't make money? Is it true that some writers might not make money? Sure, but is it even more true that writers can make money? Of course. And why am I choosing to believe the story that isn't serving me and keeping me stuck and not going after my dreams? I told myself that story because it kept me safe. It kept me safe in my comfort zone and made it okay, that fact that I wasn't going out and writing. And now here's the funny thing about that story that I was telling myself. I had a full-time job. And so I didn't need writing to make me a ton of money to even just get started with writing down in my journal every day, right? Or just getting started on some kind of manuscript. I didn't need the writing to make me money. I was already telling this future story of writing doesn't make money, so I might as well not even start today, even though I have a job that pays all my bills. Do you see how twisted it can be when we say these stories that keep us stuck and not going after what we want? And so here's the thing. I want you today to identify what story are you saying that makes your dream not possible for you. Maybe it's personal. Maybe it's about, you being too old, too young, too blah, 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 too this, not good enough, not likable. But maybe it's something also to do with just these stories we picked up from society about how dreams just aren't possible in general, right? And so really try to identify what story you're telling yourself. And now here's the thing about a belief. A belief rests, it's like a table with like legs, right? So each belief we have in our brain is basically like a table with legs. Let's say this belief has 4 legs. Okay, I don't have 4 fingers to put up, but you get it, right? A table and then 4 legs here. And so in order to change the belief, what we have to do is knock down the legs. Because if we start to knock down the legs, the table will fall, the belief will go away. And so, when we believe something that isn't serving us, we need to therefore find evidence and poke holes to prove that those things aren't true. So for example, if I believe that I'm too old to get started, I have this belief, I'm too old, it's too late, I should have done this in my 20s, it's too old, like it's just too late now, right? If I believe that, I'm just never gonna get started. And even though my heart is still beating and I have the whole future in front of me, the whole future in front of me, no matter how old you are, you still have your whole future in front of you. I'm stopping myself from living into that future because I already think I'm too old. Like no one's too old until they're dying, right? And so let's say I have this belief that I'm too old and I have these legs that are supporting this belief. I need to knock those legs out. So for example, what I can do is I can start to prove evidence that proves that belief isn't true. So first of all, am I really too old? I mean, modern medicine is truly making it so that most of us are probably going to live up until 100, if not more. Like we are increasing our lifespans as time goes on. Most people who are even in their 50s still have half of their lives in front of them, right? So is this I'm too old thing really applicable anymore? And then there's this idea that there's so many people who have gone on to achieve their dreams at later years in their lives. So, Julia Child didn't get started until she was just even learning how to cook until she was in her 40s. And she didn't get on TV until her mid 50s. So here we are, this woman who, as this beautiful, beautiful person, but traditionally she obviously does not, match and attach to the ideals of beauty at that time. She's in her mid 50s. And she gets a television show and changes the culinary world in the United States and really changes how we think of food, right? And she does that at this age in the time that she was, growing up in the 60s and stuff, where she would have been considered way too old for that. Charles Darwin didn't come up with the theory of evolution until he was much, much older in his life. And one of my favorite examples is this painter called Grandma Moses. She didn't not even know how to paint, how to draw until she was in her 80s. And then she learned how to draw and paint in her 80s and started creating art that immediately took off and made her a famous artist. And she is now her paintings are one of the most, incredibly beautiful and also highly priced items you can buy, right? So when is it too late? When are you too old? Right? So, another example are there's women who have literally not run a day in their life who started running in their 70s and are completing marathons in their 80s. So if what we're doing right now is we're collecting all this evidence that's really going to take the stool and knock all those legs off of the table so that the belief falls flat. And what we want to do now is we want to create a new belief, right? Like it's never too late and you're never too old as long as your heart is still beating. Could be a much more beautiful belief. And you can now reinforce the belief with new evidence, with new table legs to show that your original faulty belief wasn't true. It was just an assumption without all the evidence in the world. And now you're choosing to use different evidence that shares a much more empowering story. So now I can take all these examples of all these people who are in older age accomplishing their dreams, right? And I have this new belief there. I can also just get this incredible story that the timing is perfect and that I had to go through everything I went through in my life in order to arrive here, and in order to have the wisdom and the maturity and the emotional intelligence to go after what I really wanted to do. So obviously it's not too late. The timing is perfect. Maybe also too, the audience that I'm trying to go after, the people I want to reach are also at the same stage as me. And, I wouldn't have been able to reach them if I was trying at an earlier stage, right? So there's all these different ways we can take this BS belief, and I'm just using one as an example, and knock the legs out and put new table legs on a new belief. And I would really love for you to do that today. Whatever belief you're coming up with about why you can't go after the things you really want on your heart, knock out those table legs, poke holes in the story that's telling you all those things, and find new evidence, right? Find new evidence. There's this statistic or saying that like most businesses fail, but what about all the businesses that don't fail, right? What about the people like, what's her name? Sarah Blakely, who created Spanx and is now one of the richest women in the world. Did you know that she actually would drive into stores all across America and place her product there? She wasn't just chosen. She wasn't just magically, oh my God, Spanx is such a great idea, we're going to put it in all the stores. She worked her ass off to get it in her stores, and she faced failure after failure after failure after failure to get there, right? That's the story of success. It's multiple failures in a row, and then finally it starts working out. And I think that it's so worth having the life that you really try for, that you really try and go after the things you want. Who cares if you fail or you fall flat on your face? At least you're in the arena, right? There's this famous quote by Theodore Roosevelt where it's not the critic who counts. It's not the person who's watching the show who counts on the side in the audience. They don't count. They're not on the stage doing the thing. They're not in the arena getting their face marred with blood and tears and dirt. It's the person who tries that matters, right? And I promise you that with the right systems and the right tools and the perseverance and the right mentorship and the right how-to roadmaps, your dreams are way more feasible than you ever believed possible. So I would love to know a little bit about any limiting beliefs that are coming up for you. So just so you know, the more that you engage, the more that you comment, the more that you share your ideas, your just where you're coming from, what's going on for you, any milestones you're achieving, the more you're going to be entered to win my favorite giveaways that we're giving away this season. So first of all is a giveaway to Become Emboldened, a scholarship for Become Emboldened, so that you can win that and join that program completely for free to work with me for 4 months to achieve your dream with a group of incredible women as well. Spot number 2 is a giveaway of my favorite self-development books, the books that have literally changed my life, and you're going to get them sent to your house. And then number 3 is a pack of Can Euphorics. Can Euphorics is one of my favorite mocktails. I love their light wave blend, and it's made with like lavender and salt and vanilla. It's so good. So be sure to comment so that you can get entered to win as many times as possible. So my favorite giveaways. So when you can recognize, again, what limiting story you're telling yourself, first of all, just the magic of sharing and recognizing, hey, this doesn't have to be the truth. This story that I'm telling myself about why this isn't possible or why that it's not going to work out for me or all these things, It's not the full truth. It's just something I'm saying, something part of my brain is trying to say to protect me. It's not true, and I don't have to believe it, right? And I really do believe that the women who really go after their dreams and achieve the lives that they really want, they continue to not listen to the voice of fear, and they continue to listen to the voice of faith instead. Because there's a deeper voice. There's a voice of intuition within each and every one of you. There's a voice that says, you're made for more. This is all happening to you for a reason. You were meant to go through this transformation and change your relationship with alcohol, right? Do you hear that voice? Do you hear that in your heart? And sometimes when it's hard to hear that voice, this is what I do. 3 things: solitude, silence, and nature. So I have found that some of the most profound messages I've gotten from my intuition or my higher self, or maybe you could call it the universe or God, whatever feels most aligned for you, I have found that the most incredible messages I've received about just knowing that I'm on the right path and what I should do and all these things have come when I'm in silence, solitude, and nature. So, for me, what I love to do is go outside, especially if it's already dark. I love to look at the stars and I love to look at the moon. And I just anchor myself for a moment. I just sit there and I look at my 5 fingers and I just breathe in a moment of gratitude. And I allow myself to feel guided. I allow myself to be really connected to something bigger than me. And I look up at the stars and I just feel immense gratitude for being here. Just for a moment, let's recognize we are on a spinning planet in the middle of space. All the other planets next to us are completely uninhabitable, right? Some are too hot, some are too cold. None of them look like Earth. Everything is just this dry or completely fiery ball. Earth is paradise. Earth is heaven on earth, if you really think about it. And we are so lucky to be here. We're so lucky that the planet evolved the way it did. We're so lucky that animal species evolved and then mammals evolved and then humans got this incredible intellect. And now we don't even think of ourselves as animals anymore. We're like the number one leader of the world. And we have grown in our intellect and we have created these modern miracles where most of us now all have a comfortable bed to sleep in, and we have food in our fridge, and we have scooters and cars to take us to work and to run errands, and we can get on a plane and one day get to the other side of the world within 24 hours. I mean, that wasn't even possible in our parents' and grandparents' generations when they were our ages, right? Mass travel wasn't even a thing until the 70s. Just to realize how freaking blessed we are, how lucky we are to be living here at this moment in time. And, it's actually a 1 in 14 trillion chance that you would be here today. That everything evolved the way it did, that all of your ancestors survived so that you could be here. The fact that you're here is a 1 in 14 trillion chance. And as far as I know, we only have this one life to live. So are you going to live the best, most beautiful, most expanding, most incredible life where you're going after what you really want and serving the world and sharing your gifts and doing it with joy and passion? Or are you going to let this voice within your head keep you stuck in that comfort zone, never trying and feeling so unfulfilled that alcohol is the most alluring thing in your life? Which one is it going to be? And I know that I was at a crossroads because I had this decision in front of me when I decided to ditch alcohol 5 years ago. And there was this moment where I was literally outside in silence, in solitude, in nature, and I heard and I felt something come over me about what I was supposed to do, about how I'm supposed to write a book, how I'm supposed to start a movement, start a business, how I'm supposed to take everything I'm learning and share it with other people. I heard that. I heard that when I was standing outside. So if you feel like the intuition and the higher self is a little quiet, find yourself in nature. Go to a beautiful viewpoint, a beautiful vista. I mean, again, this planet Earth, we have mountains with snow and then beaches with incredibly white, powdery sand. And this is heaven on earth. We live here. We get to do life here. And we get to do life in this incredible way where we learn from our challenges and we evolve through time. And sometimes we go through really, really, really hard things. And it helps us know who we are and know what we want and be able to help other people. So do not let those limiting stories, do not let that voice of reason, do not let anything that says that you cannot have what you said you wanted yesterday, do not let that stop you. I promise you, there is a way through. You know, today, they say that in 20 years, most of the jobs on the job market are going to be completely unrecognizable to the jobs we have today. The world is changing. So much more is possible now than it ever has been at any point in time. So remove the stories that say this dream won't happen, that's not possible, I can't do that. Because that has been rooted in a different time, in a different place, in a different person. You are not the same person today, now that you've reevaluated alcohol, than you were when you were drinking, right? None of the stories apply anymore. None of them. So take the stories, like smash those legs off of those beliefs and find yourself a new belief to believe in. Because I promise you, the more that you reinforce these better stories, the more that your feelings will change, your thoughts will change, and therefore your actions will change. This stuff matters because everything we think and feel affects our actions. And if we're thinking and feeling a limited story where this isn't possible, like I can't do that, blah, 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 what do you think you're going to do? You're not going to go and take the opportunity in front of you. You're not going to actually do any action steps because, you know, you're not feeling very good about it. And when you change what you're thinking and what you're feeling, a whole new world opens up. All of a sudden, if we get a little bit more curious and a little bit more hopeful and a little bit more positive, we see the opportunity. We're like, oh my gosh, I just got this bright idea. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should call this person. Maybe I should enroll in this course, right? Like we take action forward and we move forward when we're thinking and feeling well. And so then what happens is the action begets the results. And so that's why like this positive psychology and mindset work and personal development and growth, this is why all this stuff matters so much and why so many self-made successful people credit changing their thoughts and beliefs in order to have what they truly want in life, right? It's not this lottery where pluck, you're going to just get it magically. There's internal work to do. And for me, changing the internal story and getting confident in my new identity as a non-drinker was such a huge part of it. You know, before I stopped drinking, I was interested in health and wellness, but I didn't know very much about self-development and improvement. Maybe I read like a book or two on it, like by someone like Brene Brown or Gretchen Rubin, but I was not really working on growing myself back then. And so much has changed, which I can't wait to tell you more about tomorrow, about why a growth lifestyle will prime you for everything you want. But today, I really just want you to focus on what are the limiting stories that I'm coming up with that say my dream isn't possible? Is it the voice that you are not good enough, that you can't do it? Is it the voice that comes from society that like just dreams aren't possible in general? Pinpoint what it is. Do you have a belief that you can't make money off of it? Do you have a belief that, like, what is it? What's the belief? Get super, super, super clear on that. And then poke holes in the belief. Find all the evidence you can to prove your belief wrong. And then form a new belief that's so much more empowering. Because what you think governs what you do. And you might as well choose to believe the most empowering, hopeful, positive things about yourself. And even if not for yourself, it will turn you into a better human. You will be nicer, more compassionate, more empowering to other people, more inspiring to other people too. This is how we change the world, right? This is why the like Buddhist and the very meditative gurus out there really talk about changing yourself first is what's going to change the world. Because if we change ourselves first, the way we play in the world, the way we act in the world changes. And if everyone's raising their consciousnesses, we can change the world, right? You have so much more power than you think. So thank you so much for joining for day 3. Be sure to fill out your workbook today. Be sure to comment and share what limiting story you're telling yourself. And come back tomorrow for day 4, where we're going to talk about the lifestyle you need in order to achieve your dreams. Same time, same place. Thank you so much for joining. I cannot wait to see you there.